So the other day, Merrick Christensen introduced me to GruntJS. I'd heard about it before, but I hadn't played with it yet, and I found it to be amazing, basically. Relieves a lot of pain for development. So I'm going to show you how to convert a project from using a nasty, dirty little bash script like this one. Hold on just a second. Ah, there we go. I deleted it already. This is what I have been using for compiling my single page site, and Grunt will work with multi-page sites too, but I'm going to show you how I'm converting this over to Grunt. So first of all, I'll just go ahead and get rid of that, and next step is to sudo npm install -g grunt CLI. So there's command line tools for Grunt as well as the Grunt library, which is also needed. So next thing, npm install --save dev grunt, and that's going to put it into my package.json. And with that done, my first step will be to create a Grunt file. So Gruntfile.js is what I'm creating. And it starts out very simple. All Grunt modules should be used strict. That's part of how Grunt does it. If you use Grunt init for a module, it'll put the use strict in there for you. And well, I'm done. That's my Grunt file. So now if I just run Grunt, I have no task to do. But other than that, it's a working Grunt file. So first step is I'm going to show how to compile. So in this project, I have less that I'm using, and I'm using Jade as well. And I'm also using Pack Manager to wrap up all my JavaScript into a single file. So I'll show you how I'm doing each of those. Let's see, I believe it was init config, and then I give this a config object, and let's start with less. So less is the module name, and options, I'll create a dev target. So I get multiple targets, and that dev target will have files, which files will be style.less and styles/star. Nope, I don't even need that, because my one less file includes all of the other less files. So just compiling that will do the trick. And let's see, what else did I need? I think that's it. And then I could have a production target as well, which I will call dist. Same files, but now I'll give it options as well. And I happen to know what the option was for that. Let me just go through this real quick. If I go to GruntJS.com, show you how. Well, Merrick just told me about it. He told me what the options were because he's so familiar with it. But let me go through and show you how you get there. So you go to plugins, you search for a plugin, like for example I want something to handle less. The ones you want to look for are the ones that have the star here that are called contrib hyphen whatever. The contrib ones are by the Grunt team, whereas the other ones are third party. So I'm going to open this one up, and the README is down here below. So it talks about the different options. So, and then gives an example of what it will look like in the grunt config. So there we are. And now that I have a config, I also need to specify to load in an npm task, because this module is a module on npm. Okay. And for the sake of this tutorial, I want to turn off my JS-hint-rc indent enforcement real quick. Why is it not like that? Whatever, I'm going to ignore that. Oh, actually, I think I know why. It's my other JS-hint-rc for the project. Okay, cool. So the next step is I need to actually install this grunt module. So I'm going to do npm install -- save dev grunt contrib less. Okay, now if I run grunt -- help, I think it is, available tasks, right there. So I can do grunt less. And it looks like I need to specify dev, no? Okay, so I think this contrib task hasn't been updated to the latest version of Grunt, and that's why it's issuing this warning. But if I look at it, oh, I think I did something wrong here. Let me go back to my Grunt file. Yes, I did. Okay. No, that warning was not because the module isn't updated. That warning was because I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay. Files is supposed to be a hash with the destination or the compiled version of the file. And then the source file. So compiled file as the key. Compiled file as the key. Source file as the value. Now let me try running this again. Okay, good. So now I have my style.less and my style.css. Okay, so that one was pretty easy. I'm going to do the same thing again, just super quick for Jade. So I'm just going to copy this config straight up and paste it. Whoops. Call this Jade. Okay, and now if I do grunt help, I see that I have the available task for compiling Jade templates. And I don't know, did I do npm install save dev Jade? Oops, grunt contrib Jade. I'll do it again just in case I didn't. Otherwise it won't run very well when I try to run it. Okay, so now I can do Jade dev, and I could do Jade dist, which there's actually no difference between the two. Oh. Ugh, straight copying. This is what I meant to do. Index.html, there we go. Okay. There we go. That makes more sense. Now, but the problem here is I don't want to have to run like Jade, grunt Jade dist and less dist and so on and so on and so on and so forth, right? So what I can do is specify another task, which is just an alias task. Just an alias task. So this one I'm going to call build, and then this is an array, and here I can just pass in Jade dev and less dev. So now when I do grunt build, it runs both of those tasks. Now the next step is going to be a custom task, because I haven't been using Grunt and I don't have a Grunt task for Pack Manager, so I'm just going to add one in. And let's see. So I'm just going to do this the quick and dirty way, and I'll refactor it later. But I need to register a multitask, and it's going to be called Pack Manager, and the description I'll give it is packages CommonJS modules into a single file. And then, since I'm just doing this quick and dirty, I'm not actually going to require the module and load it properly. I'm just going to exec the executable that I have for it. And I'm going to copy and paste some code here. Okay. So I'm going to use grunt.util.spawn. Oops. Whatever. And I'm going to run the command pack manager with the args-e and then this.target. So target is like dev or dist or whatever. And then build, these are just options that are specific to pack manager. And then this.async just creates a callback so that when that is done running, the callback gets called so it knows that it can progress to the next thing. So Grunt is a lot like Connect in that it's really just handling middleware. Grunt itself doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to it per se. It's the individual middlewares that are doing the real work, and Grunt is just handling all that asynchrony and making it nice and providing some conventions and documentations on this is how you do stuff. So I have two possible targets for pack manager stuff. One is browser, and it doesn't matter that I'm not going to use this files array. In the future I'll refactor pack manager so that then this task so that it will. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in here for now. So this would be like distapp.js. Oh, well, for the browser I conventionally call it packmanage.js, and then I would take in lib.browser.js to do that. And I could throw on some options there. I'm not going to right now. And then node is another target I accept, and then that would be something like distapp.js and lib server. Okay. And if I'm going to do this right, then I would have files equals this dot files, and then I would do files dot for each. But I'm going to skip that right now because I just want to see this thing work and know that I'm doing good. Okay, I'm going to add to my build step pack manager browser, and check it and see what happens. Okay, so also previously I had done sudo npm install -g pack manager, so I'm not going to do that right now, but it's already been installed. And then in the future, when I make a contrib project for this, I'll have to do install -save dev, and then it'll be like grunt pack manager. So we'll get there little by little. Okay, so now the basics of what I wanted is done. Unfortunately, Pack Manager does not minify the JavaScript already, so I'm going to go ahead and add another task that's an Uglify task. So I have here Uglify, and I'm only going to Uglify when I'm doing dist. So I think all I want here is just, again, files, and we'll call this packmanage.min and packmanage.js. And I'm sure there's probably an options array that I could pass in for what type of compression I want to do. I'm not going to look that up quite yet. And I'll need to load the task for it. I know this is one of the core modules. And then add it here as well. Now it's important that I put these things in the right order. Well, particularly in this case. Like, it doesn't really matter whether your Jade gets done first or your less gets done first. But it does matter that my Pack Manager happens before my Uglify. Otherwise, it would be trying to minify something that doesn't exist yet. Alright, so with all of that in place, let's see, I'll go ahead and just run this again. Grunt build should run now 4 tasks. Good, it's working. Now, the next step in this process is to pull that task out into its own file. So I'm going to create a file here, grunt packmanager.js, and then I'm going to open up my grunt file, and I'm going to clean this up. So this whole bit right here, I'm going to cut out. I'm going to replace that with a load tasks. And give it grunt pack manager. Now I don't have to specify / to say that this is a local file. It knows that because I didn't specify load npm tasks. I just specified load tasks. So now I'm just going to run it again to make sure that it still works. So pack manager browser. Oh, whoops. I forgot to paste it into the other file here. Okay. So now same setup as before. Module.exports equals function, accepting grunt as the parameter. Put it in strict mode. Alrighty. Okay, let me look at that again. Okay, so what I actually need to do here is specify a folder, not a file, and then do grunt tasks, move that file that I created into that folder. And now I should be able to run my task. Yes, okay, cool. Now it is completing successfully. So now I've been able to kind of refactor that a little bit so it's a little bit cleaner. I'm keeping just my configuration and then the things that I'm loading in here. So that's good. And before I go on to how to create a plugin, how to turn one of these tasks that I have into an npm Grunt plugin, I want to introduce the watch module, or the watch task, which is probably the most awesome task of them all. So I'm going to put this one right up here at the top, and you can guess what watch does. It watches your files, and then based on what files are changing, it changes, it runs tasks to update the build files from the source files. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with this all target. And let's see, I need a files key. Nope, files in this case is just an array. Yeah, okay. And so I'm going to do double star less, double star JS, double star Jade. I think that's going to work. In a lot of these globbing libraries I've seen, when you do a single star, it looks in the current directory, but if you do double star, it looks in all possible subdirectories as well. So I think that's what I want. And then I'm going to run the task build. And I'm going to change to have a build dist target or task, I mean, and take out Uglify from the regular build one. Because really, who wants to be debugging Uglify JavaScript? Not me. All right. So now, if I run grunt watch, it should do watch all. Okay. And I'm just going to open up another tab. And from this tab, I'm going to go into my project directory. And here I'm going to run screen. And now that I've got screen open, I'm going to run grunt watch. Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to run grunt watch here in the screen, and I'll tell you exactly why I did that in just a moment. Go back over here and cancel it, and then I'm going to just update something. So I'm going to change index.jade and just put in some mess here. Okay, and now it's caught in a cyclic loop. So I hit Control-C to stop that cyclic loop, and I found out what the problem was. In my Grunt file, I was watching all JavaScript files, and part of my build process, I create packmanage.js. So I just changed that to only look in lib, and then reran my watch task, and then tried the same thing again. Changed the Jade file, and it reruns the entire task. Okay, so that's nice, but part of this, the problem here is that now we have what could be potentially a long build process. One of those tasks might take a long time. So I'm going to refactor this again, and I'm just going to pull out from watch a less task, or target rather, a less target for the watch task. And so I'll do less dev, and I will only watch less files, and then I will have a Jade target. Actually, I'd like to have that one go first, and I'll only watch Jade files. So, and I'm watching not just index.jade, but all Jade files, because my build tasks only run on index.jade, but if any of the included files get changed, I want to rerun that task. So that's why, in case there was any confusion there as to why that is. So same thing here, I want to run Jade dev, and then I'm going to run another task for JS. And that will be Pack Manager Browser. So now, over in the terminal where I have screen running, I'm going to cancel out of that watch, clear it, and I'm going to do grunt watch less in this screen, and then hit Control-A-C to create a new screen, and do grunt watch Jade, and then again hit Control A, and then C, and then Grunt watch JS, and then Control A, and then in. I can cycle through. So now when I change my index.jade, I can go back and see that the Jade watch has run, but not the other watches. So now the iteration becomes quicker because I'm not doing all the tasks, I'm just doing the ones that are related to that file. So this is a pretty sweet setup. I am super excited about this. This is making development for me so much easier. So the last step here that I want to show you is taking that custom task that I created. So under my Grunt tasks, I'm going to take my Grunt Pack Manager and I'm going to make a bona fide Grunt plugin for it. So I'll do mkdir code Grunt Pack Manager, and then I will go into that directory, and I think I need to do npm install -g grunt init. And after that, let's see, what was it? Let me just go to the Grunt website here instead of trying to find my little note that I made. I think I can go under Getting Started, Creating Plugins, and alright, it looks like that has not been updated yet. I just filed a bug report on this actually. Okay, so I did that correctly, but here that colon should be a slash and that get at should be a get : //. Okay, good. And that is going into my home.gruntinit/grunt plugin. Great. Now the next step is to run grunt init grunt plugin, and it's important to note here that the grunt init grunt plugin only works on an empty directory unless you use force. It'll overwrite your package.json. I think it'll overwrite the readme. It'll overwrite a folder called tasks. So if you have any of those things in your folder, you don't want to use the force option. So yes, this is going to be called Grunt Pack Manager. And then what was the description I gave before? Compiles common JS into a single file. Sure. Yep, I'll eventually put all of those things up, I suppose. I like using the Apache 2 license because it explicitly grants rights that the MIT license only implicitly grants. Oh, and let me note here, there are some things that you can't see because for whatever reason my color scheme doesn't show them. So just to take a look at this real quick, I happen to know what those are. Those are all the questions. And I don't know what that error is about, but I don't think it's actually that important after all. So what I'm going to do here is just copy over the grunt task that I had created. Just that bit there. Really, this is the only thing I need to copy. The rest of it I'll just modify. So under tasks and packmanager.js, I have here this register multitask, and this is just kind of a dummy module that it gives you to look through and figure out what to do with. And I'm going to replace this . I don't need that. And I think this .async will still work. And in the future, let's see. Nope, I don't want to do it the way that they're doing it here. I want to move this up here. I don't want that filter. Okay, well the filter's fine. I'm not going to do any of this. Although in the future I will factor out some of the command line stuff that I have in Pack Manager. And then I'll, of course, instead of execing it, I'll use the module. But I think this is the only modification I need to make. These options, these dummy options that they give me, this is, well, like it says here, it's to merge target-specific options with default options. But I don't have any options that I'm passing in right now. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of this whole block there. And I think this would be f.src and f.dest. Let me give a little bit of structure to this as well. Oh. Okay. So I think with that, get rid of this too, because I'm not using those right now. I'll just get rid of everything I'm not using. Okay, so it really boils down to this simple right here. Good. So in theory, now I need to make a package.json. So npm init. That's odd that it didn't create one for me. Okay, I'm just going to leave that blank for now for sake of brevity. And just do npm publish. Okay, and now if I go back to the directory I was in and I change this grunt file so that instead of loading a task from grunt tasks, I now load an npm task Oops, pack manager. Whoop, that's all spelled wrong. I should be able to npm install -- save dev grunt pack manager. Okay, ignore all that for now. And I should be able to still run pack manager browser. Okay, found out what my error was. Simple noob mistake. I was using the wrong this. Suppose I could have just passed in this that way. Alright, so let me try to republish that. Okay, and try to run this again. Boom, it works. Okay, so that is the complete flow of Grunt, from taking a project that you have existing, converting over your bash script to Grunt tasks, adding tasks for custom things that you have that aren't already available as a Grunt plugin, watching your files to execute your task for your development setup, and publishing a Grunt plugin. If this was useful for you, please go ahead and give that little thumbs up button a nice click. Also, you'll see the notes are in the comments section down below. You can either at the end of the article or right up at the top. Give it a like, tweet, +1, whatever. Thanks.